We're here in the southern United States to investigate paranormal activity of a Fudd from beyond the grave. We received a call from a woman named Lucy who believes her grandfather is still acting as an RSO on the range to this day. Is he a misguided Fudd or just a lost spirit? Today on Fudd Adventures, we're gonna find out. Now, thanks for having us out, Lucy. It's a beautiful piece of property here. Tell us a little bit about the history of this land.
Well, my grandfather in the 70s, he bought it and he created a range, and then he was an RSO at the range.
Now, what kind of paranormal activity have you experienced here personally?
One day, I went out to the range and I was shooting my Glock 9mm, and I was shooting and it just felt like chills down my spine type thing. It felt like somebody was watching me.
And you had no privacy.
After shooting that day, I went back inside. All of a sudden, the door started to slam and open. That was really weird.
Wow, that's an incredible story, Lucy. Now, what was his favorite handgun?
He actually passed it down to me. It was a 1911, so.
Wow. Now, did he set up his 1911 with that weapon light?
Actually, no, I added it.
Well, thanks for having us out, Lucy. We're gonna get to the bottom and hopefully get you some answers here soon. Thanks for talking. We're here at the start of the night to begin our investigation. We're gonna be trying to get a response out of Randy, and I think it's gonna be an interesting night. We were talking to Lucy a little bit earlier. We know a little bit about his past and history. We know that he was an RSO, so we're gonna try and get a response out of him tonight. All right, Randy, I've got two guns out here, all right? If you wanna shoot him, go ahead. Got his 1911 out here that he loves. See if he shoots it. Go ahead, Randy, if you wanna shoot it, go ahead. Okay, nothing on the 1911. Now, we got the SIG P320. Did you tell me you got that? Tell me you got that. Although this is a strange occurrence, it is not necessarily indicative of paranormal activity, as this could be SIG's fault. We're using the DNT thermal optic to see if we can pick up any signatures from spirits. I brought my AR-15, Randy. It's got a bunch of doohickeys and gimmicks on it, like a thermal scope and a flashlight. I know you love weapon lights, Randy. Oh my God, oh my God, holy . Did you see that? Tell me you got that. You can see from the full spectrum camera a figure that appears to look like an RSO. Randy, if you can hear me, I just want to let you know I came to your range to shoot today. I brought my African-American friend. He's got an AR with red anodized parts. Oh my God, oh my God. Did you capture that? Did you hear that? Aaron, did you get that? Did you hear that? He's a racist ghost. Okay, we're inside the house right now. I've got two calibers here, 9mm and 45. We're gonna see which one he likes. Hey Randy, just wanna let you know the FBI switched back to 9mm. They say it's a superior cartridge with modern ballistics. I got two bullets here, Randy. Do you wanna tell us which one your favorite is? As I'm speaking to Randy, you see two orbs of light caught on our full spectrum camera hovering above the 45 ACP. Oh my God, oh my God. Aaron. First floor? You're not gonna believe this. After our night of investigation, we determined that the reason that the spirit was haunting the land was because Lucy had put a weapon light on his 1911. After a life listening to Ken Hackathorn, this spirit couldn't rest until we removed that light. Hopefully now, RSO Randy can move on. Now this video is sponsored by DNT Optics. They sent me out this thermal and they're sponsoring the video, so we have to say thanks to them, and they wanted me to say a few things, so let's talk about it. What's better, night vision or thermal? Well, DNT says, why not both? They offer a daytime, nighttime, and thermal package all in one. They also offer a picture-in-picture mode where you can have your main display and then a smaller display where you can have night vision or thermal in either one. Now this is their budget scope, so this model doesn't have some of those features. This is the HS225, so it's gonna be a little bit of a lower resolution, and this one's actually clocking in just under $1,000. It also has a recoil activation mode, so whenever it detects a certain amount of recoil, it will record from that point 10 seconds before and then 10 seconds after. Now their budget offerings are starting at $9.99. I think they're on sale right now for whatever reason, but That's pretty unheard of, and that is a pretty cool price point. Some of their models also have a built-in IR illuminator as well. Just a little bit of experience with the scope. I'll just kind of break it down real quick. So up here by your objective lens, you got your focus up here, and then you got your 4 buttons that do different things, whether you long press them or short press them. You got your power button, you got your zoom. Now my scope, the budget one, zooms from 3, and then the highest is 12 times magnification with a few different ones in between there, like 4.5, 6, 9, and then 12. There's 4 different color palettes on this model. So you've got black hot, white hot, red hot, and iron hot. My favorite ones are the black and white, whether it's daytime or nighttime. Those are the ones I've been finding myself using the most. And then of course you've got your record button down here, which we just spoke of. Now this thing is powered by an 18650 battery, and the budget model has about 5.5 hours of runtime if the scope is actually off. If you're like me, I accidentally had this thing in standby mode for a while, and that was draining the battery pretty quickly, so you want to make sure you turn the thing off if you do have one of these. It also is compatible for USB-C, so you can actually power this via USB-C, but it won't charge the 18650 battery. For that, you're gonna need to use the external charger that it comes with. But to transfer the footage off of this, I think it has 32 gigabytes of data as well for filming. You would plug it into your computer from right here, and that's how I got the footage off so I can edit it. Now the resolution on this particular model isn't as good as it's gonna be on the other ones. That's why it's a budget scope. Now, regardless of the budget, they all display their resolution at 50 FPS, which is actually smoother than how Stalingrad runs on Hell Let Loose. Of course, it can't be a full review because understand I'm a little compromised, right? This is the sponsor of the video. I could take this thing to Milsim West and I could spot Blue Jean Operator and his whole crew. He'd probably spot me first, but hypothetically, in my fictional scenario, I could spot all the Russians from 6 million miles away. So that's pretty cool. DNT, a huge thanks for them for sending out the optic and sponsoring the video. So we gotta say thanks to them. And if you're in the market for a budget thermal, I would give them a shot because I honestly am pretty satisfied with this. And that's all I got. So what does somebody like me need this for? Well, truth be told, you know, I don't really necessarily need it, but let me tell you, living on property, living on, you know, in the boonies and woods, it's a very useful thing to have because just in the last couple weeks alone, I've been using it to go outside and look at animals, whether it be foxes or other stray cats, because we have like these stray cats that come around our house and we feed like a couple of them, and then there's like this one that's bad. But regardless, I've been using this thing to kind of peek around and see. You can see him in the bush pretty easily, and I actually got some footage of a wounded fox the other night. I didn't actually know he was wounded until I went back and watched the footage. I didn't shoot him or anything. He was wounded for something, some other reason. I scared him off at some point, and then when I went back to look at the footage, I noticed that he was actually injured. I don't know what he was injured by, whether it was a car or somebody else. I don't think he was shot or anything, but he had some kind of injury and he was kind of limping around, and I got that on video. I also work at an airport, and I got some footage of some helicopters and whatnot, which I thought was pretty cool. And I mean, it's a cool little optic, but you know, what do most people actually need thermal for? I think for a lot of people don't need thermal in the sense that, yeah, it's the future. It's used right now. Law enforcement uses thermal. Drones with thermal capabilities. There's no doubt that thermal is a significant asset on the battlefield, but as far as a civilian application goes, you know, I can't speak to the military or the law enforcement application, but when it comes to civilian application, I think the guys that are using these most effectively are the ranchers. Like, there's a whole war in Texas right now going on, which is where this company's from. There's a whole war in Texas against the hogs, and ranchers are using thermal optics to fight that war. You know, if you have a problem like that, you have a problem like that with coyotes or pigs, that's probably the most realistic, like, okay, you actually need a thermal optic. For everybody else, unless you're a frequent Milsim West attendee, then it's a nice little niche thing to have. But it's not like, you know, don't think that you're gonna die if you don't have this, right? The Skrongle scope, this is the Skrongle scope. If you don't have it, you're gonna die. If you don't have thermal, you're dead, you know? There's this whole like, oh, you need to have it because they're gonna have it to, you know, when they're looking for you, so you need to, whoever they is, so you need to have it to look back at them. And I would say a lot of that's fear mongering, and it's really, for most people, it's a cool toy. If you live on property, if you're a rancher especially, you have animals you need to protect. These optics range from just shy of $1,000 to $3,000. That is a significant amount of money to spend on firearms at all. Like, if you go and tell your wife, hey, I'm gonna spend $3,000 on 2 different guns, ammos, and attachments, everything like that, that's a hard sell. Now, you know, try and convince yourself or, you know, your spouse, hey, I'm gonna spend $3,000 on one optic. Probably don't need thermal. There's a lot of other things I think that your money should be going towards as far as personal finances and just getting squared away with other firearm-related purchases, But don't feel like you're missing out if you don't have thermal. Unless you're like a frequent Milsim West attendee, I think that most people are just kind of pretending to be LARPy, like, oh, I'm gonna need this for whenever this particular faction invades or takes over the country, I'm gonna need thermal. And it's like, look, this comes with two 18650 batteries. It's got 5.5 hours of runtime. You have 11 hours between these two batteries. I don't know if, the Civil War is gonna last shorter than 11 hours, but there's a whole bunch of logistic questions that come into play and all this kind of stuff. So, your finances and whatnot, take care of your family and your finances and get yourself squared away in that sense. And get yourself squared away in the other aspects of the Second Amendment. Do you have a CCW? Do you have a decent AR-15? Do you have a good optic? Is that thing set up properly? Do you have armor? Do you have a chest rig? You can even make arguments that armor and stuff like that wouldn't be that necessary, but all those things I think are more practical for the vast majority of people than investing in a thermal. Now, if you are somebody who fits that profile, then you have the money to spend, then thermal is a really neat thing to get into. And it's just cool to show off to people too. You take this thing to the range, show your friends, you show your normie friends, like, hey, take a look at the scope. And it's like, if they've played Modern Warfare 2, they remember the chopper gunner and they're like, it triggers their memory. So again, I want to say thanks to DNT for sending out the optic, and thanks for guys for watching this video. I thought it was a pretty fun little intro, kind of a little bit different kind of thing we're doing, but I think that it was, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by watching another video of mine. That's the free way to do it. You can also join the Patreon, or you can go buy some merchandise from our website. I actually have some stuff down beneath as well that you can use. You can actually buy t-shirts, I think, down beneath. And that's pretty much all I got for you guys. So thanks for taking the time to watch the video, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.